YouTube and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes? Financial infidelity? I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss it. There's something wrong with that.
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
I've dealt with lots of people who have anxiety disorders, you know. And one thing about people who have anxiety disorders is they are not mysterious to me. It's no problem for me to understand why people have anxiety disorders, or why they're depressed, or why they have substance use problems. The mystery to me is always why people don't have all of those things at once, because everybody has a reason to be anxious. In fact, we have the ultimate reason to be anxious because we know that we're vulnerable and we know that we're going to die. And how you can not be anxious under those circumstances is a great mystery. It's a massive mystery. And the same thing applies with regards to depression. And then the same thing applies to some degree with regards to drug and alcohol abuse. As I said last week, there's plenty of reasons to drown your consciousness in alcohol, that's for sure. We could refer to the aforementioned anxiety and depression, not least. And the sorts of drugs that people are prone to take are chemicals that take the affective edge off the tragedy of life. So back to the issue of fear. Abraham is self-conscious, that's what this commentary says, but the thing is he moves forward despite that. He's self-conscious and he knows the danger, but he moves forward despite that. And that's actually the appropriate response in the face of actual non-naive understanding of what constitutes life. Like if you're naive and you move forward, it's like, well, what the hell do you know? You know, there's no courage in naivety because you don't know what there is to stop you. You don't know what dangers you might apprehend, but to be aware of what it is that your problem is. So to be alert existentially, let's say, or to be fully self-conscious means that you're perfectly aware of your limitations and how you might be hurt. And then to make the decision to move forward into the unknown and the land of the stranger. Anyways, I would say that's one of the secrets to a good life. And I can say that really without fear of contradiction, I would say, because the clinical literature on this is very, very, very clear. What you do with people who are afraid, and to some degree depressed, but certainly anxious, is you lay out what they're anxious about, first of all, in detail. What is it that you're afraid of? What might happen? And then you decompose it into small problems, hypothetically manageable problems, and then you have the person expose themselves to the thing that they're afraid of, and what happens isn't that they get less afraid. That isn't what the clinical literature indicates exactly. What happens instead is they get braver. And that's not the same thing, right? Because if you get less afraid, it's like, well, the world isn't as dangerous as I thought it was, you know, silly me. If you get braver, that's not what happens. What happens is, yeah, the damn world's just as dangerous as I thought, or maybe it's even more dangerous than I thought, but it turns out that there's something in me that responds to taking that on as a voluntary challenge and grows and thrives as a consequence. And there's no doubt about this. Even the psychophysiological findings are quite clear. If you impose a stressor on two groups of people, and on one group the stressor is imposed involuntarily, and on the other group the stressor is picked up voluntarily, the people who pick up the stressor voluntarily use a whole different psychophysiological system to deal with it. They use the system that's associated with approach and challenge, and not the system that's associated with defensive aggression and withdrawal.
Oh, the voice of reason. Hey, Dr. Jordan Peterson not playing with y'all today. If you're just tuning in to hour number 2, man, we're talking about pouring into people and discernment. And my argument is that if you're not actively trying to heal your relationship with yourself, if you're not actively trying to, you know, address what may be your internal problem, you're not going to be able to pour into someone. You're not going to be able to discern whether or not you should pour into someone. And you might run the risk of thinking your pour is a bi-directional investment. I pour into you, you pour into me. Do you guys remember the early shows of The Voice of Reason when I talked about reciprocity? And I talked about an organic form of reciprocity, not one that is rooted, not an anticipatory reciprocity, right? Oh, I did this, so now you. No, it's organic reciprocity. But somebody who is not healed, they will have an expectation for repayment. Why? Because their cup from which they poured from is half empty. The act of pouring into each other is often perceived as a bi-directional relationship investment. Yet the reality is far more nuanced. In relationships, the exchange of emotional support, time, and energy should ideally flow freely, without expectation of some type of forced reciprocity. However, when our giving is contingent upon receiving a particular outcome or guarantee, the transactional nature of the pour becomes evident. Consider the individuals in your lives. Are they pouring into your cup or are they draining it? While genuine relationships mature and replenish us, those rooted in unmet needs and expectations often leave us feeling depleted. It is crucial to discern whether our interactions stem from a place of genuine connection or a desire for validation and fulfillment. Listen, if you're full of the grace of God, full of a consciousness that says anything is possible, I can do all things through the God that flows through me. If your consciousness is at that level, or you're working towards that level, you understand you're dealing with human beings and they may not be able to pay you back when you pour into them. So why would you pour from an empty cup of your own? I want to know. Let's get it, Attila. Get back in here.
Uncle Joe, what's up? Okay.
Let's go.
So, as a former people pleaser, initially I was like, what is this man talking about? So I had to call you and figure out what the heck you were talking about. But I want to say I actually completely agree with everything you're saying. I just kind of wanted to challenge certain things that may be being overlooked. I think part of the reason why, again, a lot of this is just hard for people to grapple with is because it starts with self. How often are you pouring into your own cup? Like, how many times do I ask you, did you get rest? Pretty much every day.
Right.
So if your daily life is not set up for you to pour into yourself, of course you're not going to be able to pour into other people, but we do it anyway. I would say that when you are, as the church would say, filled with the Holy Spirit, meaning that you're pouring from the source that is, you don't really tend to get as tired as fast. You have more patience for people. But I think, again, a lot of this is pulling from self. You have more patience for yourself. And so, again, if that's not present, there really is nothing else you're going to be able to do. But I still feel like, at the end of the day,
keep going.
People have a choice. People have a choice
Free will.
on whether or not they want to take that narrow road towards healing, the eightfold path towards healing, whatever you want to call it. I think everyone has a choice in whether or not they want to do that. And so with you having that martyr complex, right, in terms of the human design piece, perhaps the energy that you're focusing is more so on those that deplete rather than those that fill. Because I think that when you have a mission and you have, what's the word, an anointing, I do believe that the Most High sends you people that are, in a sense, helpers, right? So I don't always think that it's just us filling our own cup or it's just spirit filling our own cup. I believe people can fill you up too. And so maybe the problem with a lot of this and the reason why people have such an angst is because they are knowingly pouring into people's cups that are broken, knowingly pouring into risk and to people that perhaps are, how do I say this, lesser equals. I don't know how to put that without it sounding kind of rude and crass.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't. You just can't. Do you see? There is a movement to avoid the fall. But the fall is inextricably tied to the ascension.
I agree.
That's what I'm
wholeheartedly
saying. That's where we get.
I mean, you're going to fall several times. Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We have been taught to fear the fall. We think we can, like the brother R.C. Blake was saying, like, hey, you have to not use your emotions and you got to think about it. You can think all you want and still be fooled.
Absolutely. And there's a lesson in that. There's a blessing in that. I say come what may. So when you're taking your decisions as a full, able-bodied human being who is practicing your free will, then whatever comes with that, you have to learn how to take that on. I think that's something that we could all do and learn, but at the same time, then I can't be a victim. So,
But that's why, but Attila, that's why I say you can't discern through fear.
Right.
Now let's just be honest. How many women are out there? And I'm not saying brothers aren't in fear too, but how many women out there are trying to discern through fear?
I would say good 98, 99%. Part of it, okay.
Fear sitting right there on their shoulder, like, girl.
But let me speak up for my sisters, though. We have a safety component when it comes to these dynamics, too. Like, let's not forget, sisters are popping up missing everywhere. Body parts being found. So I think that there is a balance between common sense and wounds.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Attila, I love it. Guess what you just did, Attila?
Right, Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. We love it when folk call in from all over the country. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call us, 1-800-920-1580. Do I got time? I got time in Zynga, Pensacola, Florida. Get in here.
Hey, good evening.
Hey.
This is a great show, Mr. Zoe.
I think so.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
So, I want to say that the women that you talked about, you were saying that they're discerning through fear. I don't think that's discernment. I think it's anxiety. When it's discernment, it's gentle, and it's normally coming from the abdomen. When it's anything else, when it's coming from the chest and anywhere else, that's not discernment. That's not the voice of God. For me, my gut is God. You know, when you get that little gentle nudge. Also, I feel like your discernment lets you know when something is organic, when it's natural. When it's anything else, your spidey senses go up. Now, the reason why we have all these angry people with microphones and all this other stuff is because they ignored the discernment, which is the first line of defense. Then it's the spidey sense. Then it's the red flag. And you ignored all that. And now it's, why am I'm pouring into them and they're not pouring into me? Probably because you shouldn't have been being bothered with that person. you knew they were possibly a taker or user, but you felt altruistic, you felt, like you just wanted to help. And now you're in a place where you're drained, you're broken, you're bruised, and now you want to kind of take it out on the world when really the discernment was there to tell you, danger, Will Rogers, is danger. Mm-hmm. That's just how I look at it. And I think that you can be empty, but when you've been somewhere and you can see somebody going where you're going, about to go through what you're going through, you can kind of pour into them. And it's like Pac-Man and the power pellets, because you inadvertently sometimes preaching to yourself. And I mean, I've been there when maybe I didn't have enough to give, but I saw somebody maybe at a lower point than me, and not on some, I'm looking down on them. I just can see. And so in that, maybe I felt some empathy and wanted to give a word. And in that, I was also preaching to myself as well. So I think discernment, I don't think discernment is fear. I think discernment is God. And like I said, whenever I've went against my discernment, whenever I've went against my intuition, because I'm a very good judge of character. And like I said before, maybe I was born with it. Maybe it's my trauma. And it probably is more likely my trauma. But I feel like I'm a very good judge of character. And when I went against it and said, I'm gonna give them a chance anyway. They remind me of Chick-fil-A. But then I came to find out they put antibiotics in the meat. That was my fault. I like McDonald's people. Maybe it's not the best, but what you see is what you get. And they try to have, healthier options, meaning they trying to do the work and they trying to get better, but they're not fake. And it is what you get. And so that's all I have to say, Mr. Lee.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the phone calls. Get in here. Talk to me. Verily, verily, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing. And they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. Psalms chapter 82, verse 6, and I have said, ye are sons of God. Yet ye are still men. You will fall like one of the princes. We are sons of God, sons and daughters of God. I'm telling you, there is a pipeline from you to God that allows you to pour in a way that you won't feel fatigue. I believe when you pour from your unhealed self, you're going to get tired because you don't really have it to give. When I come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's keep it cooking.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
I was told the true definition of a man was to never cry, work till you're tired, got to provide, always be the rock for my fam, protect them by all means, and give you the things that you need, baby. Our relationship is suffering, trying to give you what I never had. You say I don't know how to love you, babe. Well, I say show me the way. I keep my feelings deep inside, I shadow them with my pride. I'm trying desperately, baby, just work with me. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Yeah. Teach me how to love. Yeah. How I can get my emotions involved. Yeah. Teach me, show me how to love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Teach me how to love. How I can get my emotions involved.
If you think of the human psyche, we got the ego in the middle of a greater thing we would call the self. And the self contains all the aspects of the unconscious, the hero's journey, the archetypes, all of the intuitive stuff, right? The ego, which is the part that identifies with this body, wants to be in control. When you're trying to tap into that greater intelligence.
Many of us are pouring into others from that center. I want to start this video over from the top because he just said it. I'm trying to push you guys beyond. You got to unlearn what you learned in order to understand what we're talking about tonight. Many of us pour into others from a disjointed, broken space. Do you understand? That's where we're pouring from. And that's why there's a demand to be paid back for what it's an investment. Let me do it another way. And I'm going to go to that clip in a second. Krishnamurti, the more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. Self-knowledge has no end. You don't come to an achievement. You don't come to a conclusion. It is an endless river. Is he not describing God as self-knowledge? Is that not in alignment with Psalms chapter 82 verse 6? And I have said ye are gods. Is that not in alignment with John chapter 1 verses 1 through 5? It is the light that shineth in the darkness, that the darkness comprehendeth not. I'm asking you to pour from that space. But you can't, listen, all the shows we've done, the inner child, narcissism, self-love deficient, right? The codependent, all these things, these layers, right? How many of us are pouring from that space? If you're pouring from that space, you are wanting repayment. It is a waste of time for you to pour. I'm trying to get y'all to understand that. Y'all want to hold on to the old way. Let the old way go. You can't pour until you're in communion with God. Whatever your religion, whatever your belief system, you can't pour until you're in communion with God. That's why you're going to feel slighted. Dr. David R. Hawkins, author of Power versus Force, The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior, labeled it slight collecting. You're in your relationship keeping a tally. I did this. This was done. This was not acknowledged. This wasn't approved. This wasn't appreciated. Worthiness wounds, self-esteem, self-worth, happiness, the ideation that happiness comes from others. All of this is actually in what you're pouring into other people until it's reconciled. The more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. Self-knowledge has no end. You don't come to an achievement. You don't come to a conclusion. It is an endless river. Nobody's pouring from an endless river because your pour isn't connected to God. This is why I say discernment for most people is fear-based, just like trust and loyalty. That's why trust and loyalty becomes the two pillars, right? Boaz and what was the other one? Boaz and who else? The two pillars. I done forgot the names. Y'all know the names. That's why they become the two pillars in your life. If I'm going to be in a relationship, loyalty is number one. Trust is number, like, these are fear-based movements. I'm sorry. Andy is telling me, do I got time, Andy? No, I ain't got time. When I come forward, boy, I'm going back to the phone lines. When I go back to the phone lines, y'all better be ready to have this discussion. You hear me?
I done shared things with you, girl, about my past that I'd never tell to anyone else. Just keep it to myself. Girl, I know I lack affection and expressing my feelings. It took me a minute to come and admit this, but see, I'm really trying to change now. Wanna love you better, show me how. I'm trying desperately, baby, please work with me. Show me the way to surrender.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris paid a visit to Atlanta, Georgia on Monday. The stop was in coordination with the kickoff to what's being called the Economic Opportunity Tour. She discussed small business investments and minority-owned businesses. You can soon expect to see more warning labels for sugary foods and drinks in New York City. A law will go into effect later on this year that will require city food businesses with 15 storefronts or more to post warnings. It's for items that have at least 50 grams of added sugar. The label will be a black and white spoon loaded with sugar. Stunna Girl is the latest artist to deal with unruly fans at a concert. During her performance on Saturday in Syracuse, New York, a man groped the rapper, which led to chaos. In a video obtained by TMZ, several people can be seen jumping off the stage to confront the suspect culprit. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wayne on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Are you a mental health, social worker, child welfare professional? Consider a career as a certified wellness coach where you can make an impact working with children and youth. Learn more at cawellnesscoach.org. Supported by the California Department of Healthcare Access and Information.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Don't shave with that, son. You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops. I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard anyway? You know Mama hates it.
Yeah, had it since my last wet shave in 77. Got ingrown so bad, looked like I was growing a patch of new noses.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturize, so I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes, why should we be silent? Turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
playing tricks on me, but I could have sworn that the kiss that was meant truly for me is leaving me torn. How can love be so kind and so gentle and turn and be so cold? And why must my arms feel so empty for what my heart still holds? Henry, how could you go? Yeah, yeah. Up round and hurt me so. I tried so hard to please you, baby, but I just can't seem to Henry, how could you go? Up round and hurt me so. I tried so hard to please you, baby, but I just can't seem to, baby. Now was there something I could have done to change this outcome here? As if I blinked my eyes and suddenly she up and disappeared.
You know, I've heard a lot of experts say that fear isn't real. That is such a bunch of baloney. Fear is so real. In fact, there are probably things that you're afraid of doing right now in your life, in your relationships, at work. And the fact that you're afraid, that's robbing you of all of the experiences that you want to have in your life. I mean, if you're afraid to fly, that's going to limit your ability to travel and see the world or go visit friends. If you're afraid of public speaking, that's going to really limit your ability to express yourself and share your ideas. If you're afraid of talking to your boss or asking for a raise, that directly impacts how much money you make. Or what if you are dreaming of starting a business, or you've already started a new business, but you're afraid to talk to people and you're afraid to share your business with people? I mean, fear is something that stops us all. And that's why I'm here to talk to you, because it doesn't have to. Fear is real, but I am going to share a secret weapon that I have used for years to beat every single fear that used to stop me. Now, first, before we get into this secret weapon, I just want to cover a few facts about fear, what it is, what it isn't, and some things that you may not know about fear. So first thing, fear is a physical state in your body that is exactly the same as excitement. Let me say that again. Fear and excitement are the exact same physical state. Your heart races. You might sweat a little bit. You might feel tightening in your chest. You might feel a pit in your stomach. You have a surge of cortisol. It's basically the way that your body goes into a hyper-aware state because it's readying for action. Now, what's the difference between fear and excitement? Really simple. The only difference between fear and excitement is what your brain is doing as your body is all agitated. If you're excited, your brain's going, oh, wow, this is going to be so cool to ride this roller coaster. If you're afraid, your brain's going, no way, there's no way I'm doing that. This is dangerous. Get out of there. Don't do that. It's saying something different. So what's critical about understanding this is that we're going to use the fact that your mind is either working for you for excitement or against you with fear to your advantage. And I'll tell you about it in just a minute, how you're going to do that. Second thing I want you to understand is that you may have heard the advice, feel the fear and do it anyway. You may have heard the advice, oh, just try to calm down. Think positive thoughts. It doesn't work, does it? And there's a reason why it doesn't work. So let's go back to fact number one. When you're afraid, your body's in a state of arousal and agitation, and your heart is racing, and you're all like amped up, and you're hyper aware of what's going on, and you're freaking out a little bit. What is it like when you're calm? You just kind of chill, right? You got like this low arousal state. Very, very difficult to go from a state of agitation and being all jacked up and excited and weirded out and to a kind of state. It doesn't work. It's like trying to stop a train by throwing a boulder on the tracks. It's going to make the train jump off the tracks. It's going to cause a disaster. In fact, they've proven in research that when you try to ignore your fears, it actually makes them worse. And they've also proven in research that positive thinking alone also can make your fears worse. So what do? What do you do when you're about to go talk to your boss and you feel afraid? What do you do when you have to get on a plane and you're actually terrified of flying? What do you do if you got to give a presentation and you are afraid of public speaking? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to use a strategy, the same one that I use, that has helped me beat every single fear and turned me into somebody that is terrific when it comes to a high-stress situation. This is how you do it. You're going to use my 5-second rule in combination with what I call an anchor thought, and that is going to reframe what your mind is doing so that your mind goes from feeling agitation and making you afraid to reframing it from agitation to excitement. It works like magic. Now, I have used this technique for years, literally for years. And
man, Mel is cooking. Hey, the voice of reason is on fire tonight. Hey, listen, I'm going to push you to think differently. We got to think differently. Relationships have to be different. Please do not pour from a cup that is riddled with fear. Reframe it as Mel said, right? How do you reframe fear? When was the last time you were able to look at your fear without judgment? Huh? Even your fear is subject to your criticism, to your judgment, to you're appalled by it. We got callers on the line. I want to get everybody in here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Who's been on the longest? Tori, Louisiana. Tori, get in here.
Hello, hey.
Hey, how are you? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
This is an awesome topic, first and foremost. To make a long story short, when it comes down to discernment and fear, I was recently in a situation where, you know, saying if it's too good to be true, then it's probably too good to be true. So I felt that way, and the person that I was dealing with said, pray and ask God for discernment to make sure this situation is for you, type of, you know, or whatever. So I decided to do that, even though I had fear. I decided to go ahead on and pray about it, and the moment I let my guard down seemed like it was the moment that the guy ended up putting his guard up. It was like a real weird like situation. And in the end of all of the praying, you know, because this is the first time that I ever brought God into a situation with any guy that I've ever dealt with. And in the end, it all basically did not work out. So it made me start questioning, you know, am I praying right? Is it something about me? You know, what is it about me? It brought me down, you know, to make me start feeling like, well, am I not worthy? And things of that nature, you know, to just kind of make a long story short. So I guess what I'm trying to say without saying is maybe praying for discernment in the midst of fear, maybe that isn't a good thing. I don't know. It's
Tori,
just weird.
are you saying your fear crept into your prayer and maybe potentially contaminated it? Is that...
It's possible. I mean, maybe it is possible, and maybe that person saw that at the same time because he knew that I was fearful about the situation, and maybe because, you know, dealing with different people and in the process of dealing with different people, and then you finally find or think you have found someone that you really are connected with. You all can talk about God and stuff like that. And then it doesn't work out, and the person just kind of let it go. You know how a person just kind of ease off without saying anything, and then they come up with all these excuses like, well, at this point I'm working on me, or he just like, well, I feel like you have a great personality, but I just don't see what I need in you, but you're everything I want. And I'm like, wow, I'm what you want, but I'm not what you need. It's just a crazy situation.
Listen here, Tori, I swear I so appreciate you calling and sharing that with me, because that's what I was talking about. You can't discern clearly, to me, where there is fear. And I'm saying, if you're broken and unhealed, yes, you can call on God for help. You can call on God for guidance. You can call on God for healing. But I think the discerning piece, you might want to take a step back, because that is to see things clearly. And I think sometimes it's very difficult to see through our pain, to see through our fear. That's all I'm saying. But I appreciate it, Tori. I appreciate the call. Thank you for bringing Louisiana in the building. What say ye hustle when we come forward? Miami, Florida. Florida water. Hustle about to get in here. You already know what it is. Let's get it.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV. City of Los Angeles landlords, verify your tenant's Emergency Renters Assistance Program status today. Tenants approved for rental assistance are protected from eviction for non-payment of rent through May 31st, 2024. Approved rental assistance applications protect tenants from eviction for non-payment of rent. Refusing to accept rental assistance based on their source of income is illegal under law and can be used as a defense in an eviction case. Check your tenant's application status now at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org. Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're my baby, my lover, my lady. All night you make me want you. It drives me crazy. I feel like you were made just for me, babe. Tell me if you feel the same way. Does it just feel so right? I don't want waste no time. If I had to choose, I know I'm gonna always choose to be with you. Cause girl, don't you know?
Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? I wanna give all my love to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. Yeah, my playlist is my co-host, Music Soul Child. His playlist is highly underrated. He's got slappers. Tonight's topic has been a slapper too, man. Heavy stuff. People are sharing from all over the country. Let's get them in here. We got Hustle from Miami, Florida. Hustle, get in here, man. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Oh, hey, what's up, brother Zoo?
How are you, good brother?
I'm doing well, man. So it's been a while since we did this.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna start off. Yeah, I'm gonna start off here. I believe what you've been speaking about tonight is not pouring, but overflowing. Pouring would indicate that we are losing something as we are giving. Overflowing is when we are filled and we are sharing with anything around us.
I love it. I love it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
So we're gonna start there. Now that's the flowers. Now I gotta hit you with the heat.
Come on.
I would argue that we should focus more on transaction since we are living in a world of transaction. In so much as when you consider investments, you don't just hope things go well. You consider the environment, the landscape, circumstances, history, future projections, and you move accordingly. With yourself, I do believe you should try to live unconditionally. But with the world around us, transaction isn't a bad thing. I looked up the definition.
Tell me.
It is an exchange between people.
What's the going rate for empathy?
Well, it depends on how much empathy means to you and how much empathy means to them.
But the reason why I asked that satirical question is because the things that really matter can't be quantified in terms of value. It's priceless stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like presence is priceless, right? Emotional support, psychological support. These things are priceless. Like I said, empathy, compassion, consideration, collaboration, cooperation. These are priceless things, especially when they're not performative, when they're actually real and true. Anything that has deep meaning, I think it transcends value. So, and I understand what you mean by transaction, right? It's an exchange. I get that, and I'm 100% in alignment with what you're saying. But when we're dealing with spirit, we're not dealing with expectation. We're dealing with divine design. We're dealing with what I would call, like we mentioned earlier in the show, organic reciprocity, not something that is owed to you because it was given to you. Does that make sense?
Sure. Can I add on to that?
Absolutely. Come on. That's why you're in here, Hustle. I know what you do.
Now look now.
Now,
We both
now
are
look
familiar.
now. Now look now.
We both familiar with the Kabbalion, as above, so below.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a certain level of reciprocity built in to the universe already.
Organic, yes.
Organically. Now, if we're not mindful of that, like what you're saying, empathy is obviously a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, here's the problem. When it comes to dealing with somebody else, if you do not consider how they value these things, you will be giving away something that is priceless for pennies.
Isn't that, do not cast pearls to feed.
Come on, brother.
Come on. Hey, I hear you, brother. Hey, Hustle, guess what you just did, good brother?
That's it, brother. Miami here, man.
Miami in the building, man. We appreciate Hustle. Let's get True Monger in here. True Measy, get in here.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me, brother. You got to follow it up. You my last caller. Let's go.
Oh, man. I think it's a condition that we all have experienced at some point, as far as like pouring into people and not getting it back, or maybe even expecting to get something back. I think when we're like young, we give. We don't really think about getting anything back. But as we get older, start experiencing more people and how they treat you, or maybe even take advantage of your kindness or whatever. Kind of puts a score on you a little bit. So you're a little more cautious about how you give to certain people, because you see how they treat you when you do give. So yeah, we all go through that. But I think to get to the point where trust is no longer an issue, it's going to be at a different pace for everybody. But I think you have to evolve to that.
Yes.
You have to unlearn the conditional giving and trusting, and continue to grow. And some people may grow out of it, some people won't. It's something I'm always working on, because I have to catch myself when I'm giving, and I think, okay, I've just been giving and giving and giving, and the ones I give to don't seem to appreciate it, or they waste it. So at times it makes me feel a kind of way, but I have to catch myself. We're like, that's not on you, that's on them. You do what you do because you wanted to do it, and leave it at that. Well, I'm human. I have my setbacks, but the key is to, once you recognize those setbacks, is to go forward.
That's right.
And be better.
That's right. That's right. Brother, guess what you just did, man?
That's all I can do. This is Raw Dallas in the building.
Dallas, Texas is in the building because of my brother Truemonger. Listen, if you guys want to bring your city in the building, y'all know what to do. The number to Dallas, 1-800-920-1580. Just understand this. We start the conversations. You finish them. You don't have to agree. We just want to agitate your mind, expand your boundaries. We got to get you outside your comfort zone to just even think about things like this. It's important to do so. I love tonight's conversation, and I hope you did too. Up next, Tavis on the nines. Hey, the Voice of Reason will be back tomorrow with another slapper. Enjoy your evening, people.
Lately you've been questioning if I still see you the same way. 'Cause through these trying years, we've gonna both physically change now. Don't you know you'll always be the most beautiful woman I know.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica,